We learned so much last time about importing and exporting from a level. I had a thought. If we take this red penguin here and give him a cane so that he can be the one that comes over up into this level. We have a red penguin with a cane, which means we can just walk over and finish this top level Gentoo Rescue level selection? Well, let's find out. Well, apparently I've completed the game. Maybe. The world has collapsed. You cannot exit the level selection. Yeah, good job, Dev. Thanks for the game. There's clearly nothing else left to do, and we can wrap this series up. I'm joking. Okay, so we're back here. The circle of red penguins has disappeared, but now there's a circle of yellow penguins. Another ending that we could reach. Well, we can't do now because obviously even if we get him out of his little enclosure, he's unable to stop there. We have to find a way for him to be able to get there, which I assume is why there are still so many other levels to do. Well, now that this silliness is over, I think what I was actually going to get into is going to this level at top, but I realized that the name of the level has changed as well from Gentoo Rescue to Gen 2. So we have gone deeper and off to transplant with us. I assume eventually we'll do enough things to learn how to solve the impossible level, but now it's not the time yet. Here we start with hopeless. It gives me so much hope for what's about to happen. Hopeless is hopeless because right away we end up crashing into a wall and going into the water. I'm getting the feeling we're going to start learning some crazy tricks that didn't seem possible before. But potentially we want to exit higher up and see what else we can do, right? Because he's locked into hopeless, but actually we can get him out if we just get the hammer and move to levels such as inductive, inconceivable. Let's try inductive. So here we have many buttons, many holes, and actually this is just another level selection with a single level down at the bottom there. So we can get our cane and just walk into inductive with the cane. Oh, we're getting recursive now, because now we start with the cane, so we're able to close B. Oh, but we have to step around enough to have A and B closed. But now that we have a cane, it also means we cannot step through the storms, right? Because we're gonna get stuck. But we can still step into inductive and take our penguin with us again. Like, when we start, the state of the level doesn't change. So it's not like we're transferring that with us. You can't just keep going, and the level selection list is getting longer and longer. So what could possibly await us in Inconceivable? We've got walruses and penguins, and they're very tightly enclosed. This one's got a rocket, but all that's gonna do is get him out of there. And obviously they're not even neighboring, so he can't like shove the other guys out from there. So I've checked out a few levels in here, and right now what I'm feeling is that I'm missing some sort of important information. If we use the red penguin like this, we can actually import him into hopeless, and then we are able to solve this level. So that's how we get through this first obstacle. So in the case of Inconceivable, there is a green penguin here, which means we can bring the green penguin from the level selection, I assume. And if we give him a bomb, then this walrus is going to be able to run into him and explode, and he can get himself out. And then we also get the rainbow, which means the rocket walrus can come here. So now we're basically, yes, moving the animals from level to level selection back and forth. So we have to go into those levels and understand what would we need to bring to solve them. Our brain now has to work on layers. Although for level selection, rocket walrus is not actually our best option. So instead we have to go back and get our green penguin back. We can check out base. So here the penguin is blue, and once again we're going recursive in here. So there is a hammer we could bring with us. So if we do this and then import ourselves to this level with the hammer, we can just blast through here and complete it. So we can go to cleanse with our green penguin. Okay, remove an item from an animal by starting the puzzle with the same animal holding no item. So presumably he was here holding something. So let's see if I get the red penguin there. We can see. Okay, so he starts with a rocket, which obviously not good because he would just rocket himself out. But yes, we can just import green, no item, and then he's all good. We still have to solve the puzzle, but you know. I think this will mostly be about just shuffling the penguins around using those paths here. So now we can put the green guy here, the blue guy can exit, and he can just wrap around to his own exit. So I guess the challenge here was again about removing the rocket from the level more than it was about the actual level content. If we swap them around here, we can go to Y, another one of our uppercase letter levels. And in Y, we got just walruses all strapped into rockets, a penguin in a gray exit. And I assume, yes, if we move anyone, that penguin is going to drop. And when he drops, the level fails. But there is a level here that we could access, although I assume it's just going to be the same level, right? It's getting recursive as well. So we're going Y with the different walruses. We do have an option to pick up a bomb, but once again, gray penguin loses. And even to step on the level, we would have to get a walrus with no rocket. So we have to look at importing some walruses about. We also have a level blocked by the gray penguin, and if we can get someone with a mallet there, then at least, or someone, the red penguin specifically has to get there with a mallet, he can knock him out, and then also go to his exit. But I think, yeah, we can get some walruses from here, although he's also got a rocket, so it's not particularly who I want. So I think here we're just learning that we can go around and do the swaps through the menu using the different imports. But yes, if it's just a blue walrus with a rocket, that's not being particularly helpful for when we're trying to get a walrus with no rocket. So right now, I'm wondering if it's still wise to go out to here and see if maybe I should just work on other levels I can select here. If we go back to the penguin with a cane, we can just walk around and take things here. So let's check them out and see if they're solvable for me right now, or am I just entirely missing something. So pass is another level selection, and here we start with a cane, so we can walk around, but we're gonna need to change tools as we select levels and see what happens. So it starts with a fling. We've got a bomb on our head, and we could swap for a cane, but the way we have to go to our exit require us to not have a cane. The problem is this hole here is gonna give us trouble. Same with that corner over there. flank items will land on a block or after crossing a plain wall. I guess all the levels we've had so far were very carefully made so that the items would always end up in the water. But here, they're finally showing us that actually, if you drop them not towards water, they will still be in the level for us to pick up. So that we can put ourselves over there, put the cane there in case we need it. We probably do. So we have to figure out what goes where. Because it feels like we basically want to have a cane all the way till we get to here, and then get the bomb and then go down. So we can get the bomb to over there while we're holding the cane, and that actually works as well. We're gonna throw the cane out, but now we can just go down and success. So in this case, yes, okay, so I was just about to say, and we will throw the cane into the exit so that when we slide in, we can pick it up and stop, but no, because the barrier is not a normal wall, it's a special kind of thing, so the cane does not drop immediately after crossing it. It drops once it gets over the water. Well, I guess more things to learn, but for now we're going into sticky. From what we have here, I assume we're going to have to use the bomb somehow. We're gonna have to put the bomb onto the gray penguin so that when this guy runs into him, they are both ejected. But we also need the blue guy to somehow end up with the cane because otherwise he won't be able to stop. So the bomb, of course, stands on the floor so we can have the blue guy pick it up, but we still then need to arrange for him to go here, do this. Then it's yellow guy, the ultimate sacrifice, and blue can just walk in. From here, we go to Volley. More bombs, hammers, walking sticks. It feels like we want to throw the hammer over. So if we pick it up first... but if we pick it up first, that doesn't happen. Okay, so that told us that if an item drops on an item, that will then result in the item in the target spot being pushed to the right. So we can, yes, create a chain reaction of items moving. My brain is already melting just considering this demonstration here where we may have to cycle multiple items around the level. So we want to throw the items over the wall, but we want to not land on the penguin while it's holding the item, right? So we need to move away. So now we will send the hammer over, and then he can send the cane back. So he can now move, get to his exit. He can just get the cane, walk to his exit. There we go. Just, playing a little game of throwing things about over the wall. So we've got options here. Yes, so now when I walked into there, the cane got flung all the way onto the block. But that would imply that we could, fly over the block and grab the item, maybe? While we're doing that, and what would that lead to, right? Or maybe it's just a way to make it inaccessible, but that would be sad. I presume there must be some further interaction. Yes, let's go to trade. So once again, we gonna need to be trading, I guess, because we need the blue guy to get the hammer. But we want him to have the hammer while he's standing where he's standing right now, because coming back here with the hammer will not be possible. But that then requires us to do more steps. So here we're gonna have to use that mechanic where you can throw items to the side if they land on an item, but we have to be careful because they always go to the right, so obviously depending on the penguin facing, we could throw them in the water, and if we swap around enough times, the blue guy ends up with the hammer, and then he can just slide through to the exit, and the trade is complete. And from here we can slide around. Okay, so now we've done another step where we flung the mallet onto the rock, which then knocked the cane down, which is not what we want. We will want them the other way around, right? We want the mallet on the way, and then we want to stop on a cane. But yes, we're slowly building the picture of what needs to happen there. And here we have RGO, more letters. So in this one, we're still doing trading. We just have to keep moving back and forth to make sure the items do not get discarded or go somewhere we don't want to. But, well, I think it is the case that we want this configuration that the blue penguin has the spring and the yellow has the cane. I think there's more steps here because right now the blue penguin is not able to exit. So we potentially have to do some more trading. Where, yeah, if we're to drop the cane now, we're able to transfer the spring and the cane one row down, which then lets the blue penguin go to his exit and the yellow penguin go to his exit. We don't care about the hammer. Bye bye hammer. So here we got some more levels behind the walls, but with just a single penguin going behind the walls is not exactly something I have figured out yet. I mean, for most cases I haven't figured out what's going on. If we go here, pick up the mallet, we can get to having the mallet on the ground, and that got the cane into the exit because, yes, it's to the right of the movement that the previous item was making. So that gives me the configuration I wanted, because now we can burst through the wall and then stop with the cane. And that completes paths other than the extra levels. And he can continue moving to accumulation. And actually we're immediately going to be importing him with a cane into the accumulation. Okay, there is new things happening here. We've got fishes, rainbow fishies, we've got a magnet, we've got some 2 arrows that are swapping. So I think we're learning lots of things. And we immediately start with our walrus here, wanting to get to the herrings. And of course, it's just another level selection. There are some fishes here, but they're all after the walls. Well, first level is eat. So I'm gonna assume that, yes. Okay, we're eating. Om nom nom, om nom nom. Yes, tasty fish. Okay, the level has failed, because I guess we didn't eat all the fish. So this adds a new condition. Yes, each fish must be eaten. So, and what would you see it on this preview here? Each pass through a tile with a fish only eats one of the items or of the fish, which means it indicates multiple passes that have to be done on a tile, which means here we're gonna have to send people over the walls into the water in some very specific places. Before we get to that, we're off to our banquet. So full of fish, but yes, this is where we're getting into. We have to pass places a lot, but if we land on a tile, if that's where we finish, we eat everything. But if we just pass through, that's where we just eat one. So in this case, it would be helpful. I'm wondering about the breakable floor, right? Is ending on breakable floor and then having it break counted as ending on the tile? Yes, it is. I'm just looking at his face slowly disappearing to the water like, no! But yes, because he ended there, it counted as him eating all the fish. We had a nice banquet. And then we can go in here and learn about oscillation. Okay, so here we're gonna need to do our infinite loop, especially over the breakable floor, so that we can eat that fish. And in order to do that, we need to get the blue penguin behind the red penguin. So swapping needs to be happening. We can go here. Launch him like that, and then he can back up. We need to be one tile closer still. Yes, we can just back up more. And yes, then we're looping and hop onto the fish. Spring can continue to rebound on top of a breakable throw without falling. We knew this already, right? Didn't we know this already? I felt like I guess we've done it partially where you could rebound over it and then like it gets a bounce and then we would go for like a breakable wall somewhere, but I guess it only triggers here because we're talking about the actual infinite loop. So I'm like, I was pretty sure I knew that the spring can go over the breakable throw multiple times before. We need to back out of here and go into some noodling. Let's noodle. Yeah, we've got fishes that need to be eaten once again, but we do not have enough walruses. But we know we can push with our rockets. But then, yes, if the blue jumps out like this, the green can go over here, and we've successfully eaten all the fish. We can use this teleporter to launch this gray penguin, but we have to approach from the another side in order to get him and going to the right and jump into the pool. But before we are able to do that, we need to solve some more levels there. So we're going angling. Time to catch some carps. So this gives me feeling that the walrus is going to need this spring so that he can get into the same corner the red penguin is in and then jump out. First of all, pick up the spring with the walrus, and then we're able to move like this. Well, put the penguin where he needs to be, but that's not the end of it, because then we're still having to do some swaps around so they can move. And yes, now he can bounce back over there, penguin can move. And there we go. The fish has been caught, penguins are happy, angling is done. So yes, if we get into the teleporter from this side, the rule is applied and that gray penguin ends up jumping into that hole to eat the fish. We can press F to free the yellow guy up. And that will let us get one of the penguins off the level so that we can go to assembly. So that feels like it's probably something we want to do later. Again, I don't know whether there's an intended order, but it feels like if I do them the closest to where I started to, it's probably the most what we need to be doing. So we can start here with chumming. We've got 4 fishes and no exits for penguins, so we're purely relying on sending people out of the level, likely with the hammer over the walls. What we can actually do is push this guy in here and then we'll be able to push him again to eat the fish, but we have to do that at the end because otherwise we'll get stuck and that's it. And then I think we gonna need to do a little shuffle around because obviously now we're not in the right place to push all of the walruses where they need to be. So we can get this one done and this one done, but we still need to get that fish on top, which means we need to position ourselves in the middle. So we may need to use 2 of them first, because if we do this, we can push the one at the top out, and then we just need to shuffle those 2 guys around. Because here we can get without extra help, and then we whack this guy for the final fish. And Chumming is a success. We can also get into Dynamite. Okay, so we've got a bunch of fish to eat. 1 fish that we will need to get to through explosions, but obviously when we explode the bomb, we got 2 of them flying out into the water. So we have to do the explosion somewhere where it will work for sending them both where all the fish are. So we can eat that 1 fish just on the board, and then we're left with needing to cause an explosion somewhere around here. And yes, then they fly out correctly and we get both of them. So let's just continue to Gorge. Okay, lots of fish, but also rockets. So the rockets are going to make it hard to get all the fish eaten. I assume, yes. Getting blasted off of a rocket doesn't count as landing on that tile. So it's this guy that has to do all of the eating, except for that final tile, because he will eat one and then he can eat one as he falls. But how would we get to the final fish? Potentially something to do with the rocket blasting. Yes, okay, so he finishes on the tile if the rocket blasts him into there, and then he can eat all of the fish. So now let's go to assembly. 2 walruses that are great, but they do have hammers, which means they can carry the knocking about forward. And because we have a teleporter, we can loop ourselves with the hammer pushes. We also need to be visiting the fishes to eat them, let's not forget. We need to swap the position on the red and the blue penguin because that's how their exits are positioned. Without having the blue penguin in the situation, it causes an infinite loop, and therefore one of the walruses ends up protected. Which, I mean, it is also what we want, but obviously we only want that to happen when we're ready for it with all those things. Because now the blue, I was like, oh, now the blue could exit, but he cannot because the cane will get him stopped. So he needs to move by 1. So then later on, the red penguin can come and knock him to the side. So this should get, yeah, the walrus out, and now the red is in position to finish this off. And from here, we're going to V. So in V, we're looking to create more infinite loops and collisions that cause us to get launched in very specific ways. Okay, so that way we can launch someone all the way to that fish over there. We can control where the gray penguin's gonna get launched by which way we enter the teleporter, right? Because from the top he goes over there. From the bottom he goes forward, but that means... yes, from this side he will jump over to that fish. Then going from here he will get launched down, and then from the infinite loop he goes to that fish. Success, okay. After thinking about it for a bit, I'm not sure if we have enough tools or animals to get all of the fishes. I can get all but 1 here, because yeah, we can either do this to get that fish, or we can rocket into this fish. Just because this penguin here is just being very unhelpful. You should do something. This game has a really helpful feature where in your journal you can see all the mechanics required for the current level. And because there are so many, yes, I totally forget things all the time. And looking here, yes, it has skipped my mind that propelling with the rocket is a thing, because I think that's will be what we need to solve this level in the end. First of all, we can launch this penguin into the hole to eat one of the fish. Release the yellow penguin, and I think he has to go on an adventure to get the spring. So from here, he can grab that, come back into this side, and if he gets over here, he can go backwards into the rocket so that he doesn't immediately set it off. If he does it like this, he can then turn and both of them land on the fishes, and then the only thing left is approaching this penguin from this side. Final fish gets eaten and the herrings are completed. So we're out of here, well, out of one sub-level, and now we'll be able to move to more tools. So we have exchange, or we have attraction, right? Do we want magnets or do we want some sort of switcheroo arrow? Either way, this is something we're going to get into next time, because even though we finished the game once, there is still so much more to learn and discover. If you enjoyed this one, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on another adventure.